Hey guys, in today's video, we will be building out the process to allow users to add images to their units. So let's get started. So first, navigate to the View My Properties within your app. Make sure that you've got your server running as well. And we're going to start on the Edit Property screen in the code. And then within here, I'm just going to pick one of my properties. And here we can see the basic information about this property. So what we really want to do is whenever we click on unit photos, this should show us a different screen, which will allow the user to pick out photos which they want to show for this unit. So to get started within our code, let's import useState from React. And then within our component, let's create two new state variables. One will be called showUnits, and the other will be apartment index, and showUnits will just be a Boolean. Apartment index will be a number. And let's create two functions for whenever we want to show the unit images or hide the unit images. And now if we scroll down into our component within our format component, so here above the first return, we'll make a condition. We will say if show unit photos and apartment index is greater than -1, we would like to show a component for the users to pick out their images for this unit. So let's just return a text component right now saying pick images. And now we just need to go down to the touchable opacity where it says unit photos, and for the onPress event we will have it be handle show unit images. So here unit photos, let's change this, and we will pass in the index. So now when we press that, we see this new component for picking images. And while we're here, I am actually just going to add a key to this view. That's one thing that I did forget. And we'll just set it to the unit plus the index. So instead of displaying this text here, we're actually going to want to display a different component. So let's get started in creating that. So go into your components folder and create a new one. We're going to call it unit photos picker. Let's add our imports of flat list view, style sheet, button, text. Everything is image picker, modal header, and image carousel. Let's export our component and create your styles down below. And now go back into edit property screen and add this instead of this text. So unit photos picker. And we don't want to be showing this basic info if we're on the picker screen. So let's go up to this basic info and change this. So we'll say not show unit photos, and then that's when we want to display it. We are displaying the unit photos picker right now. So let's get to building this thing out. Let's add a modal header with the text of unit photos and X shown. And we're gonna modify a modal header so that we can modify the onPress event for the X whenever we are showing it. So let's go into modal header and do that. And first let's create an optional prop for onPress, and that's going to be a void function. And let's add that here. And here for the onPress event, if the onPress prop exists, then we would like to run that instead of navigation.goBack. So now we can go back to the unit photos picker, and we're going to need to pass in a cancel prop here, and that's just going to be a function. In fact, it's going to be this handle hide unit images. That's what we're going to pass in. But let's just go here and add that. And that's going to be an optional void function. So that's why we're checking if it exists first. So if we press in the top left on this X, we get taken back to the My Properties screen, and that's because we haven't passed in the cancel function yet. So let's go do that. So here for the unit photos picker, we'll say cancel is equal to handle hide unit images. And let's go test that again. And it's working like we want it to now. So go back to unit photos picker, and beneath the modal header, let's create a text component just saying that you need to pick your images for your unit here, and we will give that component these styles. And next we want to pass in some images into this component. So that's going to be a string array, and it's going to be required. We'll also want to pass in the function for setting images and also the field name, which we need to set the images to. So those are going to be these props. And now let's go back to the edit property screen and add those props in. So set images is going to be equal to set field value. Images will be equal to the images for the apartment with the active apartment index, and this will be the field. Navigate back to unit photos picker. And now let's create a function to actually go into our media and pick out images. So we'll call the function pick image, and it's going to be asynchronous, and we will await launching the image library async. And if the result is not canceled, then we'll get the base64 string from the result, and then we will copy the current images, make a deep copy of that, push the based image into the new images, and then set the images to the new images array. So now let's create a button, and we'll call pick image whenever that is pressed. And we'll give it this style, which is a margin top of 30. And now when we press this, we can see that we now have the ability to pick images. But we aren't showing anything yet, because we don't have an image carousel up or any images up to display, even though we do have one image in the array now. So here underneath text, let's display an image carousel when images.length is greater than 0. And let's wrap that in a view and give it the large margin top. All right, so now we can display images and add images to an array, but what happens whenever the user wants to delete an image? So we need to account for that, and what we're going to do is go and modify the image carousel. To go into that component, and we'll start off by creating two new props. They're going to be optional, and they will be x shown, which will be a boolean, and then on express, which will take in an index and a flat list ref. And now let's import theme, and let's go into the flat list component where we are rendering an image, and we will say if x shown and on express exists, then we will display a material community icon, and we just need to add the index up here where we are rendering the item, and we will change the key extractor so that it adds the index to the item for the key. And we're doing this because if you don't do this and the user picks the same image twice or more than once really, then I've experienced where the Expo app will just bug out. So I don't know if that will happen in your application, but this was the cure for that. And now we just need to go and give this some styles. So these are going to be the styles for that. And now we just need to go into the unit photos picker and add those props into the image carousel. So X shown. And then for onXpress, we need to create that function. So I'm going to do it below pick image. We'll call the function delete image, and it's going to take in an index and flat list ref, and then it's going to filter out the images for the images that don't have the passed in index. And then it will set the images to that new array. And once that's done, if the index meets all of these conditions, then we will scroll to the index before the passed in index. And we're only doing that because better user experience. So pretty much if you're in the middle of a flat list on Android and then you delete an image, it will not automatically update. So this pretty much takes care of that scenario. And now we just need to add this to the image carousel props. And now we can test this out. So that pretty much sums up this video. In the next video, we will be doing the unit amenities. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.